One man who continues to stun the world with his spectacular swings between the roles of hero and villain is the author of best-selling novel Cain and Abel. Ringo Starr reportedly said of a young Jeffrey Archer that he seemed like a nice enough fella, but was the kind of bloke who would bottle your urine and sell it. In fact, according to many commentators, it is exactly that form of opportunistic entrepreneurialism that went on to earn the former British lord millions of pounds and raise the suspicions of his peers. Alleged discrepancies in his claims for expenses while working for the United Nations Association in the late 60s prompted a Conservative Member of Parliament to try and persuade the party that Jeffrey was unsuitable as a candidate. Jeffrey sued for defamation and went on to become a Member of Parliament. Such uncanny ability to bounce back from the brink later saw him stare down the barrel of bankruptcy thanks to a fraudulent investment scheme before being catapulted onto the best-selling author list, courtesy of his first novel, Not a Penny More, Not a Penny Less. His parliamentary life was no less turbulent, with many members of his own party doubtful as to Jeffrey's merits as a politician, despite Margaret Thatcher's determination to make him deputy chairman in 1985. Just 1 year later, he resigned from the post after the Sunday tabloid News of the World ran the headline, "Tory boss Archer pays Vice girl." The article claimed that Jeffrey had paid a prostitute called Monica Coghlan £2,000 through an intermediary to go abroad to avoid a scandal. Jeffrey claimed he had never met Monica and was resigning for the poor judgment he had practiced in foolishly allowing himself to be trapped into offering money to her. Things got even worse, however, when the Daily Star rubbished Jeffrey's assertions that he'd never met Monica Coghlan and claimed that he had in fact had sex with her. Jeffrey hit back with a libel suit, and with the help of evidence from his personal assistant and testimonies from his wife Mary and his friend Ted Francis, he won damages from the Daily Star worth £500,000. 5 years later, celebrating a comeback worthy of one of his fictional heroes, he was sipping tea with the Queen as Baron Archer of Weston-super-Mare. But in true epic page-turner tradition, that wasn't the end of the story. During his campaign for election as Lord Mayor of London in 1999, the News of the World gleefully reported claims by his former personal assistant, Angela Pepiat, that the diary entries which helped him win his 1987 libel case had been made under duress. She also claimed Jeffrey had fabricated an alibi for the night he'd allegedly slept with Monica Coghlan. Monica then emerged from the woodwork to assert that, contrary to his 1987 claims that they had never met, she had definitely had sex with a former member for Louth. Jeffrey's team leapt into immediate damage control.
The man is down on the ground and they're lining up to give him a good kicking. But there is always another chapter in Jeffrey's life. That's the sort of person he is.
In fact, the next riveting chapter in his real life was to prove more far-fetched than any fictional scenario even he could have dreamed up. After spending his days in the dock, hearing evidence against him at the Old Bailey, he would hightail it to London's West End to portray a doctor on trial for murder in his own play, The Accused. The serendipitous timing and subject matter of his acting debut ensured packed houses every night, and even as he was facing incarceration in real life, Jeffrey was making hay while the sun shone.
I think it's been a great privilege to even be allowed to do it. I sense in the audience each night there are people who say, "God, I wonder if I could have done that. I'd like a go at that."
At the end of each performance, the audience were invited to act as jury. Despite rewrites to make the case for the prosecution more compelling, the faux jury consistently found Jeffrey's character not guilty, and no doubt he was hoping for the same pronouncement at the end of his real trial. But the stony faces of Jeffrey and Mary upon leaving court on the last day said it all. The guilty verdict brought with it the immediate removal of his title as Baron, and on the 20th of July 2001, he began his 4-year sentence at London's Belmarsh prison as plain old Mr. Archer, leaving Mary to face a possible police inquiry for giving false evidence at his original libel trial. Despite being dropped right in it, Mary never faltered from her role as the loyal, supportive wife. And when Jeffrey tasted freedom 2 years later, she welcomed him with open arms and happily posed for the cameras outside their lavish Grantchester home. Hours later, he was reporting to his probation officer at the rather less than salubrious parole office in Stockwell.